Hello, everybody. This is Greg Harrelson here with Century 21, the Harrelson Group, and of course, with my normal co-host, Abe Safa. And we want to talk about the real estate housing market around Myrtle Beach and the surrounding areas and what's kind of going on. We're getting a lot of questions on how's the market, what's going on with the interest rates, are prices up, are prices down? So we're going to talk about all that today. So Abe, thank you again for joining me and helping me deliver this message to the audience.
My pleasure, Greg. Great to be here.
So there is a lot going on. Where do you want to start? I know we've looked at some data. The data is like, it's obvious that the data is pointing in a certain direction, and that is a softening. But let's, I don't like to give a lot of opinions because, or talk too much about things that are subjective. We do like to talk facts, and then we can kind of like give opinions on facts. But where do you want to start, Abe? Let's just go ahead and dive in.
Yeah, well, I think the secret's out. There's not a single property owner that I've talked to, and I talked to a lot of them, that isn't aware that the market is changing, the market's softening. So everybody's aware of it. As a matter of fact, a lot of people I talk to feel like it's already changed a lot and prices have already come down, which has not really, that's not the case just yet, right? So that's why it's important to look at the data and make, look at it objectively and see what's really happening, get a good picture of the market. But it's out there, right? It's all over the news. Everybody's talking about it, that the market is softening. The market has shifted. They're in the process of shifting. Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's a few numbers that I think are important. Oh, well, I think all numbers are important, but that I think are really important. And if I was a listener, I would feel is really important, which is active listings. What's the inventory, the competition look like? How does this year's sales compare to last year's sales? And then an area that me and you look, but maybe the consumer doesn't know to look because they don't have access to this. It's more MLS data, is what is the number of pendings? Are the pendings going up? Because the number of pendings is a good indication of how many closings will be. Right. So why don't you just kind of share a little bit of that information with us? Let's start there if you can.
Yeah, I think pendings are important because it kind of gives us a little bit of a peek into the future. What next month's closed sales are going to be once these pendings end up closing out. Yeah. So a couple of things, right? I think everybody out there knows that inventory has been rising, right? Yeah. So over the last 3 to 4 months, inventory has been growing, and it's growing at a pretty quick pace. Now, in the whole scheme of things, we're still very low in inventory relative to what we were, 3, 4, 5 years ago. We're still extremely low. Okay, but there's a number that we have to pay attention to. It's okay, out of all those properties that are on the market right now, how many of those are actually under contract? Okay, so we kind of get an idea of what's happening. Also gives us an idea of how much or how strong buyer demand is out there right now. So a couple of numbers to look at, right? Because you and I track these numbers daily. Right now, when it comes to single family home resales only, not counting new construction, because those numbers can be wacky because there's a lot of to be built and things like that. So we focus on resales. Right now, there's 2,244 homes on the market right now on the MLS in our entire Association of Realtors, which is Horry and Georgetown County. Okay, so that number has risen a good bit. The last time we were at this number, or very close to this number, was November of 2021. So we're back to what inventory was 8 months ago. Okay, so the inventory has gone up, right? Now, so that tells you, okay, yes, great, 2,000 homes, 2,200 homes is still a low number. But now when you pay attention to the pendings, okay, right now, out of those 2,244, only 1,041 are under contract with a buyer. To put that in perspective, 8 months ago, there was 1,303 under contract for the same number of homes on the market. So that's about a 20% drop in pendings for the same level of inventory. Okay, so to me, that's a crucial number. Right? That tells me that, okay, there's less demand out there. It's not a supply issue anymore because more homes are hitting the market, but they're not being gobbled up by the buyers out there.
Yeah, let me stress one thing here. So just to make sure we're clear on pending. So for those of you that may not understand that terminology, pending means the buyer has written a contract, the seller and the buyer have agreed to the terms, price and all terms. They have a ratified contract, and it's just going through the finance and the legal process of transferring title. Okay. So a pending is a sold that's kind of like pending closing. So if pendings go down, then you know that in 30 to 45 days, sales will go down, because you have to be pending before you are considered a sale. And so if pendings are down, then that means fewer closings. So the pending number is important to understand whether or not sales are still declining. And right now, it indicates that sales are likely going to see another decrease probably in the next 30 days when we look at these numbers again.
No question. That's a great point. And I threw a lot of numbers out there, people. Let me try to simplify it a little bit. What we look at is the absorption rate, which means out of what's on the market right now, how many of them under contract or pending with buyers, because that tells us how strong the buyer demand is out there. Right now, we're sitting at 58% absorption, 46% absorption rate. So 46% of all single family homes out there under contract. 8 months ago, we were at 58%. Okay. If you go back and look at the peak over the last couple of years through COVID, the peak where I felt like the housing market was the hottest, this is just single family homes, was in April of 2021. So April of last year. So roughly, 15, 16 months ago, we were close to 70% absorption rate at that time. That's when things were so hot. There was so much buyer demand out there, not enough homes, getting crazy offers, was back in April. So going from almost 70%, right now we're down to 46% absorption rate. That's a significant drop there.
Yeah. That's big, and I think that's a much better way for a lot of people to understand it. What any other numbers that you have before maybe?
I wanted to go over condos and then condos
and
then more specifically oceanfront condos. So talking about the same context, right? When it comes to condos, right now we have 2,091 condos on the market. Out of those, 1,007 are under contract, which is 48% absorption. Okay. June of 2021, which is 13 months ago, we had the same amount of inventory. We had 2,081 units on the market, but again, 1,388 were under contract for a 67% absorption rate. So again, same thing, same amount of inventory as we had in June of 2021, significantly less of them are under contract right now. So it's not a supply issue at this point like we were seeing back then. Now it's like, okay, supply is getting out there, it's going up, but the demand is not as strong as it was. Condo market peaked March of this year. That's when the hottest the condos were, and we were at 81% absorption rate, Greg, compared to 48% now. That's a significant drop, a much bigger drop, which we knew was going to happen than single family homes. We knew when the market shifted, it was going to start off with oceanfront condos, then it was going to be condos before it even went down to single family homes. We've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm thinking of two concerns that I want to share two things that have got my attention. Going back to the residential side, over the past year, even maybe 2 years, but I can confidently say 1 year, the builders, the developers, the national builders, there's one builder out there that wasn't too real estate agent friendly. And what they did is they decided that because the market was so hot, that any agent that brought a buyer to their construction site and sold a house, I'm not going to talk numbers because I don't want to deal with any price fixing, because that's not what I'm interested in talking about. But let's just say that they barely paid any commission to an agent in order if the agent brought a buyer to make a sale. There was another builder out there that decided, and that's because they had so many buyers that they didn't even really need to kind of participate with agents. So they were just cutting the agent out if they could. There was other builders out there that did it a little differently. They were willing to pay, but what they ended up doing is they wouldn't release any of the homes until one day, during a week. And all buyers would have to give their best offer. And then it was just the highest offer is the one that's going to get the house. And they couldn't make any changes to it. They just get whatever house that they put out there, and whoever paid the most. And you couldn't submit an offer on that house at any other day. That's how confident these builders were. Now, That builder that wasn't paying commissions, they're begging agents to bring buyers to their sites and willing to pay full commissions, willing to give incentives. The other builder, big national builder, that was making everybody bid on the property. You couldn't write an offer prior. It was gonna be the highest bid wins on that one day. They are no longer doing that program. Now you can write an offer on anything at any time. And we actually just helped negotiate a buyer. We just helped our buyer negotiate a lower price on one of their new construction homes. They never negotiated in the last year on price. If you asked them to even throw in a refrigerator, they told you hit the road. They were just going to choose a different buyer. Now we're able to negotiate with these builders and help our buyers, get a much more fair price on their property. So from a residential standpoint, as an owner, I take note of that and say, wow, these companies, these builders are changing how they're doing business because they're a little bit concerned about the future. On the condo side, I think what I'd be looking at is I'm hearing a lot of conversation about, hey, I looked at my calendar, my rental calendar, and my rental calendar isn't as full in August as it used to be. Now, if that's true, which I'm hearing that from owners, if that's true, that means rental income could be decreasing. If that's the case, then when buyers are buying property and they're seeing declining income, that could influence the offers that they make. Now, the reason why I say any of this is because if you're thinking about selling this year, you may want to kind of move your plans up and at least let us evaluate your property. If you're not thinking about selling for a few years, then don't worry. Just kind of keep focused, keep paying attention, but you don't need to rush your plans from 3 years till today, based on what we're talking about. But if you're a 2-month away, a 4-month away seller, I actually recommend we be in conversation right now, because you might be able to get a little bit more money if the market continues to trend and soften a little bit.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, I haven't spoken to a single person that says their rental numbers are up relative to last year. Last year was an anomaly. There was so much money in the economy. It was a great year for hotel owners, motel owners, condos. Everybody had a great year last year, but this year seems to be down a little bit from last year.
Yeah, I just looked at this weekend at the traffic in Myrtle Beach. Yeah. There was just a little bit less traffic. I can notice because we get frustrated in the summer with all the traffic, right? And it's July, and my wife and I, we were driving down the road, and it's like, man, this is July. It's July. It seems like there's a little bit less traffic right this weekend than there was in the past.
But I did try to go to Krabby Mike's on Sunday, and they had a line wrapped around the building.
I tell you what, man, they're always selling crab legs. All you can eat crab legs is definitely is in high demand, no matter what the market's doing.
All right, so real quick, let me do the oceanfront condos, Greg, and then we'll call it a day, because that's where we see the most significant changes. Right now, total oceanfront condos on the market is at 830 units. Okay, the peak, the hottest time for oceanfront condos, that number was at 612. So it doesn't sound like, it's significant, but not that significant. Yeah. But when you look at the absorption rate, it's insane. So right now, only 270 units are pending out of 830. So that's a 34% absorption rate. At the peak, there was 471 units out of 612, so it's 77% absorption rate. So less than half off the peak when it comes to absorption rate on the oceanfront condos. So the interest rates are really impacted people. The drop in rental income is impacting the buyer decisions for these oceanfront condos right now.
Yeah. Again, one thing you can count on is Abe and I are never going to sell doom and gloom, because that's not what we believe in. But we do believe in empowering our audience with the information necessary for them to make good real estate decisions. And sometimes real estate decisions are, you shouldn't do anything. Sometimes based on what your goals and motivation are, maybe you should start thinking about it. There's no right or wrong thing to be doing. There's just the you thing, what you as an owner need to be doing based on your goals and what you need to accomplish over the next couple of years. So if we can ever help you, please just reach out to us. There's our cell numbers. reach out to us. You don't have to be in the selling or buying phase in order to reach out for and get information from us. We're committed to long-term relationships, so we'll provide whatever information you need and new reports, even if you're not thinking about doing anything. We just want to earn the right to be your real estate professional someday in the future. Abe, thank you so much. Again, great information, and for all of you listening, we'll be back to you next week.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you all for watching.
Bye-bye.